Hi everyone, so today's video is just another quick tip video on how to cut out the landlocked areas on your print and cuts. So I'm going to be using the print and cut feature, which is an activation card you can purchase for all the auto blade machines. So any machine that has DX or SDX prior to its model number. And there will be a link to the activation card in my Amazon links. So it will be directly under the video, but it will also be in the accompanying blog post on my website. So if you go to my Apple Lover 53 website, click on the blog tab and then look for the image of this post, all the links will be in there. I'm also using an image which is free on Creative Fabrica. So there'll be links to that, and there will also be links to how you can join Creative Fabrica if you're not already a member. I'm using Canvas Workspace for computer because that's what you need to be able to use the print and cut feature. I've just opened a straightforward blank 12 by 12 page. I'm going to turn on the print and cut feature. So I'm going to come over to the right hand side to my artboard and select that. And then under artboard, I'm going to click on the downward arrow and I'm going to choose A4 because that's the size of paper I use here in the UK. If you're anywhere else in the world and you use 8.5 by 11 letter size, you choose that. I'm just going to choose my A4 and you'll see now that my red bounding box has shrunk from the original 12 by 12 page down to accommodate my A4. That just means I need to keep my images within this red dashed line. I'm also going to turn on the registration marks. I'm probably not going to print or cut this. I'm just going to show you how you can access the landlocked areas. But obviously, if you're going to carry this through and then print and cut it, this is how you need to set your page up. So I'm going to come over to the left-hand side now to the icon here that is the image tracing or auto trace image. I'm going to select that. I'm going to choose an image from my computer. I'm going to choose this image here that I've already got the file open, so it was easier for me to find, and I'm going to say open. And that brings in the design. Now by default, it defaults to trace outer edge only. So in other words, this turquoise line that you can see going all around the outside of this design will be the cut line. So it will only cut around the outside. But you can see here inside the cup, there's what is generally known as a landlocked area. So it's an area that won't be cut out because the outline is only going around the outside. Or if you want to have the ScanNCut pick up the landlocked areas for you, under trace options here, you have to click on the arrow and you have to choose trace areas by colour. So if I now select that, you'll see that all those blue turquoise areas are areas that the ScanNCut wants to cut. Now obviously that would just be a complete and utter mess if I sent this to the ScanNCut machine because it would cut round every single place there's a turquoise line here, it will cut. But it has chosen the landlocked area. So I'm going to say OK. Now if I select on this image, it's all one big group at the moment. If I right click and choose ungroup, you'll now see that there are all these blue boxes around all these elements in this design, and all those blue boxes are the lines that the ScanNCut saw in the auto trace by image colour. So in other words, it would literally cut this design into shreds. However, it does look as though there's an outline around this landlocked area, which would, be what I would want. So the first thing I'm going to do, because we're in Canvas Workspace for computer, we have options to a layer panel. I'm going to come over to the right to the layer panel, which is the fourth icon down. and you'll see these are all the bits that the ScanNCut has picked up. Now if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I can see my coloured image, my printable image. I'm going to just click on the eye just to hide that for a few minutes. I've not deleted it, it's still there, it's just hidden. Now if I click anywhere off the design to deselect all those boxes and then click back on, first of all, it's putting a big blue bounding box around the outside. So if I drag that over to one side, this is all one piece. If I right click, if I select it and right click, there's no ungroup. So, and I know it's all one object because it's only got one blue bounding box around it. So this is just one piece. Now these over here on the left are all the bits that were highlighted in turquoise in the auto trace. And it's this little bit in the middle that I want. So I'm going to drag that and put it up there out of the way. Now I'm going to select all these bits and hit delete on my keyboard. Then I'm going to choose this design because again, although this is only one image, it would cut everywhere there is a black line. So that's, you know, again, not what I want because it would just cut the printable image to pieces. So I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. Over here on the right in the layers panel, I'm going to click in the box next to where the image is to show me the image again. And I'm going to hit delete to get rid of that. So at the moment, all I've got is this little, what was the landlocked area. I'm going to come back to auto trace, back to image, choose the same design, say open, and this time I'm going to leave it on trace outer edge only. So as you can see, the turquoise box is only round the outside, but again, this area here is still landlocked. I'm just going to leave it like that and I'm going to say OK. So now, this little piece here, I'm just going to colour it black just to make it a little bit easier to see on screen. And I'm going to zoom in on my image. Now you can do this because I haven't changed the size or anything at the moment of this design. So again, you can see I've got one bounding box around the image. If I right click and click ungroup, I'm not sure how well you'll see it on screen, but there are two bounding boxes. Essentially, there's one around the image, which is this here, and there's the one around the outline that the auto trace did for me. And as you can see, it's not cut the landlocked area, which is what I would expect from only having an outline trace. So I'm just going to hit undo on that to put the cut line back around it. Okay, you can see it's gone back around it. So now I'm going to bring this little landlocked area in and I'm going to put it in position where it should be. Okay, and then I'm going to come over to the layers panel, which I'm still on. Now what I want to do, I want to punch this landlocked area out of that outline background. To do that, the landlocked area has to be on top of the big area. If I hide the image again, you'll see this is what I've got. Now if I select both, and you can see I've got them both selected because I've got the bounding box around the cut outline and the bounding box around the landlocked area. And if I leave them as they are in the layer panel like this, and I go to the edit panel and hit subtract, the whole thing will disappear. Okay, so I'm going to hit undo, and that's because the outline is on top of the landlocked area. So I'm going to come back to the layers panel. I'm going to press the left section of my mouse and drag this up above its cut outline. So now the landlocked area is on top of the main outline. So if I select both, and you know you've got them both selected because you've got the two blue bounding boxes around the two shapes that is on the screen, and I come back to the edit icon and I hit subtract, that has now punched that landlocked area out of the outline. So if I now go back to the layers panel and come to the coloured image and just left click in the box to bring the image back, this will now cut around the outside, but it will also cut that landlocked area when I send it to print and cut. Now, I would group both of them so that, you know, if you do move it around the page, everything moves together. And at this stage, you can make it bigger or smaller. It's entirely up to you because everything is in place, everything is grouped, and I punched that landlocked area out of the outline. So that became one shape rather than two. So if I was going to now print and cut this, I would go to the top of the page where it says File. I would go to Export PDF File, Images Only, give it a name. I'm just going to leave it as untitled at the moment. Save it on my desktop so I know where it is and hit Save. And that's put the PDF on my desktop. If I bring it in, you can see it here. What I'm just going to do, I'm going to double click to open it and it will open in my preview window. And you will see that I've just got the printable and I've got the 4 print and cut registration marks. So I'm just going to close that down. Then I'm going to go back in Brother Canvas Workspace, going to go back to File. And this time I'm going to go Export/Transfer FCM file. It tells me it won't bring over the printed image, which is fine. We know that because we're printing it as a PDF. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to export it as an FCM file just to my desktop, just to show you. Again, I'm just going to call it untitled on my desktop. This time it will save it as a cuttable file. So I'm going to click Save. So here it is, untitled FCM. I'm just going to move this out of the way. If I drag this onto my Canvas Workspace page, you'll see this is what Canvas Workspace will cut, and there's the landlocked area. Obviously, you don't need to do that. I'm just showing you how it will look when Canvas Workspace sees it. So basically what you would do is, let me put these back together to group it. So you would print this on your printer. You'd load this onto your mat in the orientation that you've printed it from. So remember, if you print it with the snowman, you know, hat at the top and cup at the bottom, that's how you've got to load it on your mat. Don't rotate this printable when you put it on your mat and try and cut it the other way around because it won't cut right. It needs to be loaded onto the mat in the orientation that it was printed. And then all as you would do is I would send the cut file over via Wi-Fi, but if you don't have Wi-Fi, download it to your computer like I've just shown you how to do, and then load a USB stick into your computer and drag this cut file onto your USB stick, put that in your machine, load this onto your mat, and then call up your cut file from your USB stick, and it will cut around this for you and it will cut that landlocked area. So I hope that was helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. All the links for the printable and the print and cut activation card, as I say, will be in the accompanying blog post on my website. And the link to my website is always more or less one of the first links under the YouTube description. So where you see the title of this video and then it starts to tell you what the description is, you may see more or show more. Just click on that and it opens up that box and you'll find the link to my website. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.